Previously on Friends and Rivals.
Just losing to RNG.
It was my decision to press the button. I pressed the button, Zach. Hi, welcome to Friends and Rivals UniVersus podcast, the only UniVersus podcast that's always last, and definitely is always last. Always last. I'm your host, Jacob Sewer. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Zachary Cahards and Josh Moore. That is an intro, and you're going to see a hard cut on YouTube, where we've already started this discussion 10 minutes ago. Ha! Chat, how is your day going? How you guys been? It's been a wild one. Especially if you play the UniVersus TCG.
What is squoval?
What is squoval? Square but oval. Like basically curved edge squares.
So every 2010 image rebranding? Like for any company?
Yeah, actually. Every app square in existence. Yeah.
They just took the iPhone icons and were like, yeah, that's what we want for our things. That's what we're using.
I mean, it's fine. So there's a couple people in chat that's already posted that have seen these things in person. And I have a legitimate question, and we can splice this in on YouTube if we need to. For those that have seen it in person, is it noticeably different than the normal set symbol or normal resource symbols? I understand the idea of squares and circles should normally be easier to tell apart, but I know the symbols have gotten bigger. But are they easily being able to tell? Dang, this is hard to tell. Why is talking hard? Are they easy to differentiate?
In the cards that we definitely have not seen. They look way different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the border better.
They actually look, I think,
less cramped.
Chiefs, not a hot take. The symbols look better. This.
Yeah. I just want to say it's a very... I will say this one on camera, and I will not say anything else about it. It's very funny that we did the card redesign to accomplish a goal, to allow for things, and then the cards we may or may not have seen did the exact opposite of that goal. So I will hope we see some more of those that continue to use that goal of what we did the thing for.
Tim, that is exactly what I was asking. Good to know.
I don't get any more.
Why not? I think the chances of cards having both circles and squares in them is very, very low. Why not? Why not have both?
I don't think it's going to happen in set 1. In Attack on Titan set 1. I think sometime next year, maybe, we'll see something.
Maybe maybe 2.
I think you'll see like 1 attuned and 1 not. I don't know that you'll see 1 attuned and like 2 or 3 not attuned.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was hoping, is that we would see attuned with other symbols.
So, Jacob, I don't know if you remember this conversation. We had it over a long time ago when I said I thought it would be cool if they stopped doing character kits, because I have diatribed about why I don't like character kits, or why I think we don't have to have them.
You're wrong.
But 2, if they did something with the symbols to make a card be an Earth card, right? And whether it's putting Earth first and then the other one's under it or whatever. Yeah. This is a very similar idea to that. Of like, hey, this is an air card. This is a life card. It's green because it's life. It's blue because it's air.
I do think it's also something that like we've definitely discussed in like various facets across like all strings of time at this point.
Yeah.
Where it's the same thing, like, what is the identity of this card? Well, the symbols are all in alphabetical order. So like we can't change the symbol. Why not? It's confusing. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think this is an interesting way to go about it. But who knows? I think Attuned is awesome for beginners in Spotlight. I think it's confusing in Standard, but not like crazy confusing. I think it's going to trip up the newer players more than it's going to trip up any experienced players for sure.
They're just gonna play. Yeah, I think like experienced players would kind of find the good ones they want to be playing.
Yeah,
and then kind of make adjustments from there. It'll be weird mix and matching. Like it'll take a little bit of getting used to. I think is the main thing.
But if this is the main topic, do we just want to get started with the intro and everything, and then talk about this?
I'll do a really quick one. I don't think the no character kits thought train leads to anything that makes sense, but we definitely do not need rigid character. Every character must have exactly 9 cards, and that's the main structure of our set. I agree. I really like the mini kits that we've been getting for characters and stuff. Yeah. I really dig that.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of come around to the mini kits that came out in Girl Power. They're like the 4 cards that this works pretty well on. We saw it work pretty well in Undaunted Raid. It worked. I can't think of mini kits in Jetburn.
Jetburn just had a huge back page, I think.
Yeah. So, but we had like mini kits in like the second set and the third set, technically, but not to the extent that we had it in Girl Power.
Yeah.
So I did not. I don't. The topic of tonight is not about character kits or whatever. I think Satonis and I probably would agree if we sat down and like I laid out what my thoughts are. I'm not a game designer, so my thoughts don't really matter. But I agree that having no character kits at all is not the ideal scenario, but the structure of the way the sets are designed, I think, could potentially benefit from, like as Satonis said, less rigid.
So we could see something interesting with it with attuned cards, where it's a card you have a full kit for a character, right? So you still have 9 cards, you have 4 cards, you have whatever amount of cards, and they go, these ones all are attuned to the character, and they may have 1 or 2 symbols that are shared with that character. But then that's it, right? You don't have to worry about anything else about it. It just has that. And that leads to a more interesting design space. We're going, well, which things do I want from these other characters? This card will do this thing that this symbol does, right? It helps build that design philosophy. So, cool, my Earth cards will help me build things. My Life cards will do, I don't fucking know what Life does. Does something decently. My Good cards will do something okay.
Life gains you life.
Jacob, do we want to backtrack a little, do another hard cut, and actually read the article?
No.
Okay. We can explain what Attuned is for the YouTube audience.
We can also explain that for someone who's watching and doesn't know what the heck we're talking about. Attuned, as you can see on the screen, these are the attuned symbols. So what attuned symbols basically are, think of them like, oh, my brain died. Sorry. Hold on.
They're similar to, I want to say like magic symbols, effectively. No, that's not even great.
That's not even it. They're like attachments. They're like pseudo.
It's none of that. In a vacuum, an attuned symbol is going to be on a card, and that card that has the attuned symbol of, let's say, the air symbol, can be played in any character that has the air symbol, regardless of whatever your character is actually built on. Yeah. So if you were playing Vaxeldan from the Critical Role deck, who has the air, death, and some other symbol, water, and you are building your deck on the death symbol, you could play a card that had the air attuned symbol on it, because Vax has the air symbol. That's it. It's very simple.
To read the rules text that was posted on the article today, a card with an attuned symbol on it can be played in a deck whose starting character possesses the corresponding resource symbol, regardless of the deck's primary symbol. Basically, Nomu has Death, Earth, and Evil. If he is under Earth, I can play Evil attuned cards. And because Standard does not have a resource chain, we don't have to worry about that. Fun facts.
Yeah, we've had comparisons of like it's kind of UVS Games' version of symbol chaining,
off symbol.
It's like a deck, off symbol chains, which is weird and hard to explain sometimes. Where it's like, all right, well, it works if it doesn't have to go into the card pool, and there's all these weird things. But it's like, oh yeah, you just play it now, right? You just play the card, no issues.
Yeah, there's some funny stories where, in retro moment, there's a card called Single Barrel. And Single Barrel says, put a card from your opponent's discard pile into their card pool. Well, if your opponent is doing some off-symbol shenanigans, you put that off symbol card in their card pool. Now they can't play any more cards for that turn because they cannot continue that resource chain. Which Standard has not had to worry about that at all because we've all been Standard has been since My Hero came out. You have one symbol in your deck and that's it. You focus on one symbol. Everything has the same symbol. We have these Attuned cards, but we don't have the symbol chaining, so it doesn't really matter. Which I think is a good way to go about it. I do think it's really funny that these things make it really interesting for Retro, but I think our locals is the only one that ever cares about Retro, to be fair. Yeah. That and Nicholas Reagan.
And Rochester cares.
And the Rochester locals.
Yeah, Rochester cares. It's really just a feud between us two, I think.
Yeah. Well, Nick cares about it for his cube, which one day I'll get to play.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah. Attuned is, I think, a very cool mechanic. If you're in any of the Discords today or the Facebook group, you might have saw a lot of dooming or a lot of just, I don't know how I feel about this, or I don't think I like this, yada yada. And for once, I wasn't there. I wasn't with them. I'm down. This seems fine to me.
Yeah, Zach is like number one doomer. Anything happens, he's like 2 seconds away from, I'm out, I'm done. Just George Costanzaing this. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have like my issues. I'm like, are we just gonna play? My issue is, are we just gonna be playing the good stuff from now on? Right? How long are we sticking to one symbol for everything? Are we getting multiple symbols on cards? And that's the stuff that I want to see. Is it just what we've seen today from people who have seen it from other stuff? Is there other thing? Like, I don't know how complex and how not complex we're gonna get with this mechanic, and that's more what I'm saving my judgment for.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of judgment still to be reserved in the implementation of how this is gonna work. The idea of it, I'm super in for. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Oops. You guys stopped talking as I was typing.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see like if they print good cards for retro and older formats, how much these are going to affect them. Because as you were saying, like single barrel, you have one symbol on this card. It may not affect it because it's the symbol you're probably playing your character on, right? Maybe.
If they care about the retro format, which they allege they do. So let's give them they allege they care. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt for a minute. They will just rule that Attuned symbols count as part of the symbol chain for your character.
Yeah.
Or they don't.
True. Yeah. It could be not. I like the idea, but don't think it needs to be on a large amount of cards. I think that ultimately the goal of the Attuned is to make things simpler, not harder, so I don't think things need too crazy anytime soon.
Well,
I agree.
The issue, Ross, is like if you take it into a more advanced idea, right? So going outside of Attack on Titan Spotlight, where Attuned is going to be probably like one of the main mechanics, right? Because so far it's only isolated to just that. You have to now expand it back to My Hero, and you have to expand it back to all of Retro. So now it's throwing that into there and seeing what actually happens. And that's up to them. It doesn't make things any like crazier or simpler. It's just how things are going to actually change.
So, real quick, one thing that I haven't seen anyone talk about, which crazy I haven't seen anyone talk about, but I also have not been like super in the trenches today. Draft. This makes draft so much more feasible, I think. Potentially. We haven't seen everything, right? But this idea makes that drafting so much more feasible as like a format itself. We know that there are people in UVS games that want draft to be a thing for this game. We know because our regionals were almost half draft anyway. And like they said, in their article where they, said, well, we're not doing draft for regionals. It was a matter of like, we see things in the future. Well, this is probably that future they were probably talking about where, okay, this is probably okay for draft. This probably makes a decent draft experience. Maybe. We don't know. But I can see a world where that's what this is like really pushing towards. Right?
I think it also makes draft easier to explain once you get the hang of what an Attuned symbol is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of silly. Like, sorry to interrupt. But I want to point this out. Which is kind of silly because when we drafted, we've always said, just play a card as long as it has your character symbol in it. That's it.
We have not seen characters from the set yet, so we have no. So We've seen some leaked cards. We have not seen the characters aside from the demo kits.
No characters have leaked. The
Correct.
influencers have seen characters.
Yeah.
No characters have been shown to the public masses.
Us here have not seen it.
Yeah. No one here has seen a character.
No one that can talk about it has seen one.
Yeah. And we kind of had this, like, we've been brainstorming, like, oh, what's this big change everyone was talking about, right? So, and one of the ideas we did come up with is, like, it's going to work similar to draft formats, where it's kind of light symbol changing, like, oh, it's a symbol of my character. I can play that. Kind of what this is coming down to.
And I think Chiefs in chat said, if we could redo everything, having everything attuned seems better. My character has these symbols, I play those cards. I think that works if you design it going forward.
Yeah.
But that doesn't retroactively work. You can't give, let's say...
No, we talked about this one. You can't give Endeavor, Walk the Dog, Wolf, Ice Sword Execution, Battle Aura,
Heat Ray.
and Heat Ray, and some good fire attack. Like, that's only on fire.
BFE.
Yeah, you can't give him BFE. Like, you can't let Endeavor 3 have all of those in one kit, because they all are all like, oh, they're all attuned to the symbols that I use my character, right?
I have a hot take.
Yeah.
I actually think that the three symbol gating of character cards is actually good. It's actually a good thing. That's me. I don't know. I've just been playing. I've been playing this game for a long time.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
What you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to compare this to another game, close to Bill Stark's heart, Magic. In Commander, you have your color identity of your commander, and honestly, I'm not saying that like building all the symbols, whatever, is good or bad.
I think there's a difference in how Magic approaches their like limited resource versus how UVS approaches its limited resource, right?
Yeah.
Because if the limitation was I need a foundation in my stage to match that symbol, then I can play the card. That's a different thing, right? Like that's kind of how it works in Magic. I need a mountain to be able to play my red card. I'm limited to playing red and blue, but I need a mountain to be able to play this.
Sure.
I can just play the card in UVS.
Right, but the restriction's not on the play side, it's on the deck building side. Which is a little bit more constringent to being the one symbol. I think the attuning symbols are a neat thing to add in addition to it, but if going forward it's only attuning, you're gonna have the Magic problem. And the Magic problem is can't even call it a Magic problem. It's
a card game issue of I play the good stuff. Is kind of what you're going for?
It's basically that, but I want to call it something that's you have the bulk problem. And the bulk problem is great. 80% of my set, 80% of every set is just pointless. And I think that's not good for a small game like this.
Yeah, like we already know, the leak from a while ago, right? From the card reveal, not the card reveal, but the
mishap.
The distributor mishap, right? Where it showed how like the boxes were like, oh, there's 300 plus cards, or there's like 300 something cards. Like that one's more public information than things we talk about. Yeah, we have 300 cards in set. That's a lot, right? That's a lot of probably bulk that you just don't need. Like there's gonna be a lot of probably bad cards that you just don't want. Whether they have bad blocks or they just like don't do it. Like a lot of blank cards that don't do anything that are they're on 3 symbols. They're spam.
Well, so I think
I want to point out real quick. I'm not dooming. I'm not trying to shit on an idea or anything, but I do know that when it comes, like, just going from my perspective as a retailer, dealing with customers, there's something about this game when I get a new person into this game and I go, most of your cards have intrinsic value. You will use them at some point, right? Yes, this set is 200 cards big, but this 200 card set in this small game, you're going to use a ton of them. Like, I know on the competitive circuit, not necessarily, but on your locals level, you're going to play most of those cards. If this shift is to more of that, it gets the bulk problem, which that becomes not exactly true. And it's something that this game has that is special, that does seem to, like, in my experience as a retailer, getting people in this game, hook some of those casual players that wouldn't normally play.
I think it came up at Worlds too when we were talking with Tim about like the decks. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm running like Red Gauntlet in my deck. He's like, oh, I'm glad that card like found a home. Like, he
hate
really
that
likes
card.
I know you hate that card, but this is my like, oh, this card that everyone kind of thought was kind of bad. I was like, oh, I found a sweet home in Inasa. Like Fury and Inasa, it was very good in.
It's very annoying. Stop blowing up my face towels. I worked hard for those.
No, you didn't.
I did. I took 6 damage on that big attack.
Cool, I like it gone now. It's done its job.
But I don't want to get to like in the weeds of it. That was.
I think the bolt conversation is actually a kind of interesting one. Your distinction of the casual level versus the competitive circuit, I think, does like flip some ideas around there. Because I think like it's been a few weeks, but I did a back and forth a little bit with Kevin Broberg in one of the Discords around like total number of playable cards in Yu Yu Hakusho. And I initially said it was like 40 or 50, and I think we like head shook in the middle around like 80.
Yeah.
But it's still less than half the set is like a reasonably playable card at a competitive level.
Yeah, like that's at a competitive level.
Which is better than Magic, and that's the only game
Yu-Gi-Oh?
Definitely Yu-Gi-Oh. Man,
I played other games, right? But like
One Piece. Yeah. Someone tell me One Piece. Someone tell me if One Piece is like even remotely close to that.
I have no idea.
Because I don't know.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards are trash.
Yeah.
When I play one set I play Digimon for, 90% of those cards are trash.
Yu-Gi-Oh has a different
Unlimited.
I don't know how many cards in Lorcana are played. Like,
I think Lorcana's a little more.
Lorcana,
yeah,
a little more open.
When you have one set, it's probably a little better.
Yeah.
But like Lorcana
how do you feel about your Star Wars cards? That's my question. How do you feel about your Star Wars cards that you use? Do you use most of them?
That's what I was gonna say. Is that set is like 200 some odd cards, and maybe half.
So the funny thing about Star Wars Limited is it's kind of got that magic thing where you have cards that are designed and put into the set because of limited, because of sealed and draft.
Yeah.
Like we have yet to fire a draft at our store because they're just products not been available. But I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to put a box aside. We're going to host a draft, and I think I finally got 8 people to sign up for it, like committed, and that's been the other big problem, is committal. So we're going to hopefully do it soon. But man, and that's another thing that like cool. If we're designing sets with draft, that means we're definitely going to have these not so useful cards.
Yeah, Jacob, do we have a topic that we should be talking about that would preclude me from just derailing on things chat said?
What? Repeat that?
I want to talk about what Barry just said, and then I want to roll back and talk about what Zahal said. But if we have something that we should be talking about other than interacting with chat, I don't want to like.
Oh, this is a chill. This is a chill time. We're here to talk about it too.
I don't think we have a schedule today. Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about chat because guess what? This comes out this week, and I just want them in my hands. I just want the Godzilla Challenger decks in my hands. I want to play them. I want to open packs and hopefully get a alt character to make Zach upset.
I
want my shirt to be a playable thing in this game.
Yes. Yes. Oh, side tangent to our side tangent. Josh, I finally watched Godzilla -1. It was very good.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's very, very good. Mothra, Barry, I'm gonna need you to send me a Mothra deck list so I can understand. Because
you'll have a local play. Chris will have one.
Local. We have one.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Our locals are gonna be a nightmare for people that don't have Godzilla cards for the next like month.
It's gonna be a problem. Anyway, but yeah, no, go off.
Picking stuff out of chat. Zahal said, if it's only attuned symbols in a set, that would be awful. In all caps. I disagree. I, 1, don't think it will be. But 2, even if it is, I don't think that's problematic given how many cards are in the set. And I'm going to make an assumption here. Assumption time. The characters still have 3 symbols.
Yeah, could be wrong. Could be right.
If the characters still have 3 symbols, your like pool of playable cards for your character does not decrease. It might increase depending on exactly how the breakdown of the cards is. But I don't think that having Attack on Titan 1 be only attuned cards is particularly problematic. So, thoughts, Jacob and Josh?
I'm getting roasted in chat.
Yeah, I had to roast Jacob real quick about reading. So it's definitely going to open up a lot of choices for building. We need to go because we actually brought this up earlier, right? When we were joking how from seeing the cards, like, oh, fire doesn't have a 0 diff still. And we're like, well, it doesn't matter with the tune cards. I can use someone else's 0 diff, right? If I got to use, if requesting assistance or a release got put on a simple, like, so say a release was attuned to air, I can now play it in Mirko.
Oh,
that means I'm blowing up my foundations for everything. But like, whatever, I have a 0 diff. I can, or requesting assistance or any of those other ones are now things I can just build on my character. And that solves the problem. Like, oh, fire has bad 0 diffs all the time. Well, now I have 2 symbols worth of 0 diffs, 2, 3, however many 0 diffs to use, and I think that'll help relieve some issues that symbols were having. So, say everyone is kind of been like, fire's bad right now because hey, cool, it has latent skill back, it has some other stuff. Woman's pretty good, but like it's missing good card draw. So now you get to look at these other symbols and go, oh, well, I can use those symbols card draw, whether it's earth building a thing or like whatever. It'll help alleviate the weaknesses in your decks that you're building to make a more even playground for everyone else to be actually on, and it should actually help the format, I think. I'm still worried of like good symbol dot deck, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna pick your good ones. It's just the good stuff all the time, and that's gonna like make everything feel samey.
Yeah, I think it was Colby pointed this out in one of the Discords earlier. We build, if you think about like the way we build decks, we build on the x-axis, right? I pick a symbol, I go this way, I play all the cards with that symbol. Attune changes you to building on the y-axis. My character is the focal point of my deck.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Is like your character choice now matters more versus like what cards you're putting in. So you can really choose. I want this play style of this character, and then you choose the cards around those symbols that help alleviate those issues. And you kind of already did that going this way, picking the stuff on that symbol. Now you go, oh, well, my character wants these things, and I get to choose off that. And I think that's very good for the game.
It could be. It also could be a disaster. It just depends on how it's implemented, right? Like, in a vacuum, this is very cool. This can be man, there's so many chats. It's very cool. There's very a lot of complexity that can be had of it. The puzzle that is deck building, the very fun puzzle that is deck building, can get even more complex and more fun if that is the thing that you're into. Some of us are. But if it's not done well, it's just and I think that's where like a lot of the dooming is coming from, where like I don't think certain people are very confident in certain aspects of it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's always had their doubts about like card design and UVS in general. Like we've all had our complaints. Back Alley existed for several years without enough stun hate to make it.
Back Alley did nothing wrong.
It did a lot wrong until it stopped doing things wrong, right? We have other cards that do that same thing. Like a lot of decks, a lot of cards right now are kind of problematic. But I'm stuck with them.
Negamat Plays said earlier that he hopes that they use this as much or slightly more than the cards that had symbol only enhances from set 2, enough to make some cool cards with it, but not every card. I hope that like it helps like enhance that kind of stuff, where we get more of those kind of enhances that we could use because Attune exists. That'd be cool. I'm just kind of going back over chat real fast just because it like kind of went. The format reset for like getting new players on, I think, is exactly what this is. Just in general, they've kind of been like, I don't know if they've been hinting at it, but it felt that way with the announcement of My Hero. When My Hero's coming to the game, it felt like, oh, this is huge. This is a huge property that's going to be like a whole reset. We got not a reset, but like an onboarding format. Attack on Titan came out, and we instantly got 2 Attack on Titan sets, starter decks, clash decks, challenger decks. It definitely feels like an onboarding ramp again.
I think those ones are starter decks, right? The Attack on Titan ones are starter decks, and then we have the My Hero
Clash decks.
Oh, is it one Clash and then one starter, and then there's a My Hero Clash in it, right?
No. There's 2 Clash starters for 2 Clash starters for Attack on Titan, 1 Challengers deck for Attack on Titan, and then one. Some people are saying 2 My Heroes.
When I say one, I mean a pair, because it's always like a pair. So like
for Clash decks, yeah.
Attack on Titan has 1 Challenger deck.
Okay, 1 Challenger deck. Okay.
So we know the name. We know who it is. Mikasa.
It's Mikasa, Armin and
no.
Oh.
Mikasa and Levi
decks
are Clash
Mikasa
decks.
and Levi.
Mm-hmm.
The Challenger deck is
Aaron
and Armin.
Okay.
But then at some point there is an MHA Challenger deck. I think we were getting to.
That's what I was getting.
It's not tied to the Attack on Titan. My assumption is that will be in September.
Yeah.
Yes, they
have not announced that. That is speculation on Zach Richards' part, not UVS Games or the Friends and Rivals podcast.
What? Speculation? What? Huh? I was talking about. They have sell sheets.
Roughly 1 product a month. They haven't.
I mean, they haven't
said anything about the MHA.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, they did say it was like quarter 3.
Yeah,
quarter 3 or quarter 4.
You know, it's quarter 3 because Star Trek is quarter 4.
Right. He thinks Attuned takes some of the fun in the deck building. It could not. It just depends on how they implement it. I don't think
if I'm gonna do, if you want me to doom just a wee bit, I think Attack on Titan.
The old Zach. We need the old Zach real quick.
Attack on Titan Spotlight will probably not be super diverse because each character will have an obviously best deck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're going to play the good ones that your character can play, and you don't have to choose a symbol.
That's assuming it's all attuned, right?
If it's all attuned.
Yes. If there's a lot of things that are just attuned, we haven't seen
anything.
The
cards we haven't seen. The cards we haven't seen are all attuned.
There's one card that's not attuned, but it might as well be attuned. So.
Oh, the best card of the set? Yeah.
There are a few characters you see on multiples. I think we're speculating on the assumption that most things in the set are attuned symbols. But we don't have the knowledge that you do. Satonis, to be fair.
What Satonis is saying is, if you're going to play in pre-rotation, if you're going to play Mirio, you're going to play the good symbol with punches.
Yeah.
You were never playing Chaos or Air because it was worse than the good symbol with punches. His point now is that that's broadly true now, right? If you're going to play most of these characters, you're not going to play Byakuo on Air, probably. You could, but you're probably not going to. You're probably going to play it on Earth because Earth has a bunch of yoked up stuff that you get to do.
Playing on Fire.
You could play it on Fire because Fire also has a bunch of yoked up stuff you get to do, even though I don't like the Fire symbol.
Yep.
Big freaking explosion.
In contrast to Satonis' point, I think there are at least enough characters where it is a discussion that it matters. Hey, Lanoko. So, Ochako 4, you could play on water, you could play on Earth pretty reasonably. You can play on Air. I don't think that one's as good, but you can. Endeavor. Order has been the name of the game. It's won the last 2 majors. But Earth is a very good deck. Right?
And
Rodan coming out. Rodan coming out this week. We're pretty hyped on the Air deck. A lot of people are pretty hyped on the Void deck. There are definitely conversations to be had in that space in the current standard meta.
Yeah.
At least for some characters, not every character.
Mothra.
You're not playing. What's a character that's only ever going to see play on one symbol?
Mothra.
Oh, Mothra's going to be on 2 or 3.
I don't know. I actually don't know how to play Mothra at all. I haven't even looked at Mothra. I want to say Ghidorah, but I do know that
no, there's two.
Muscular is only being played on Earth.
Actually, I thought about it. Kiryu on Earth.
I think there's really spicy things you can do with Kiryu on other symbols. I'm gonna stick to my judgment that it's just muscular on Earth, as like you will only play Earth cards on muscular. Like those other two symbols for him don't exist.
I was just thinking about Godzilla a little bit. Oh,
Sure.
the other Mecha Godzilla that doesn't exist. He's only playing
Fire.
Bionic Menace.
Yeah, he's only playing Order.
I think he's got a bunch of stuff you can do on Fire too.
Yeah, I think
He gets all the
Fire's
Dobby remove stuff on Fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Satonus, I mean that's fair. I was only saying that as like a devil's advocate to insert the tiniest bit of doom for me, because I think this is cool and I don't think it'll be super problematic. A single set or even a double set spotlight format is probably going to be pretty homogenized anyway, regardless of like what your deck building restrictions are, because there just aren't going to be 100 characters to play. Right? There are going to be 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's always like MHA for a while, where it's like it's Juro, it's Eraserhead, it's Nomu, and whatever other fourth best thing is.
Yeah, I don't think Nomu was in the contention very often in the first set. To be fair, Tokoyami was there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you choose your best 5 or whatever, and those are the ones you see a lot. It's like small pool of things.
Matt, I agree with you. I think that the Clash decks it's very public information. The Clash decks are all reprints, I think, except for the characters. I'm pretty sure they're probably all going to be attuned cards. They're not going to be any like non-attuned cards. Like if I had to guess after seeing this thing, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is fine.
Okay, like I'm gonna change topics a little bit, but like 20 minutes ago, Barry made a comment.
God. Hold on. I missed my exit 20 minutes ago. Let me just turn around real fast.
No, I didn't forget about it. I'm not letting this comment slide. Barry said, "I love that this game has powerful commons and uncommons."
It sure do.
Why do you think that's going to change?
Because draft.
Like we're still gonna have good commons and uncommons. Like, I don't think that'll change. We'll just
so
have more.
I'm not going to speak for Barry, but I'm going to play, I guess devil's advocate here. The idea is that because we know that this set has draft in mind, we have these attuned symbols, and we know that the common slot is going and the uncommon slots are going to like suffer a little bit in playability because of that, right? Like we don't know that for sure. We are assuming we are in like mythical friggin' like I don't even know land. Like we're just making stuff up and throwing it against the wall to see what sticks, right? In that mindset, the idea that our commons and uncommons are going to feel less impactful, less powerful, and less useful is understandable. But I don't know. I haven't seen the cards, so I don't know what to say about it.
I mean, even just looking at Girl Power, right? There, Without a Vision is one of the best cards in the set. That's an uncommon.
Yeah. Yep.
Excuse me while I look these cards up that I forgot what they did.
Sound Sensitivity is a very good tech piece. That's an uncommon. Good card.
Very cool card.
The one with Midnight's face on it, the one that stops you from drawing cards, is a good one. That's an uncommon.
Yep. Disarming Glare.
Pressured by All for One is a good card. Rifle Arm is a good card. Protecting Friends is a good card. Rabbit Finesse can be good. Refreshing Blend is good. Steadfast Resolve is one of the best cards in the set.
Interview Special Training Todoroki, very cool. Very niche, but very, very cool.
Yeah, Disarming Guns Curious About Quirks is one of the best cards in the set. Fruit Tart Gourmand is one of the best cards in the set.
People are like Rifle Arm, like that finds uses just for speed, right?
Yeah.
That's
Incubating is one of the best cards in the format.
Yeah.
Incubating is very good. If you care about playing defense, Incubating is very good. Lizard Tail Splitter.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. Lizard Tail Splitter. I still think the Binding Mr. Ozawa is actually pretty decent.
Fighting for Control, uncommon. Latent Skill is reprinted at uncommon.
Exam Strategy is kind of cool.
Side Specialist is a common, right? That's a very good one.
Yeah.
The argument that... And like Girl Power isn't the final stage of we designed our set for draft.
Seeking Entry, very good.
And it's not, and we don't even know that Attack on Titan is the final entry in the like we've designed our set for draft saga. But even the like Girl Power was sort of seen during preview season as a low point in power level. I think we're coming around a lot to like some of these cards are very good.
They just weren't
always going.
They weren't exciting cards, right? There's like, here's a little couple type pieces.
It's because the main kits were underwhelming, and we got a lot of cool stuff in the back page of the small kits.
Yeah.
Which different topic. We covered the kit thing earlier, but
actually, on that note, a lot of people have come around to liking the set after playing with it too. Previous season's really cool because we get to see things before we get to play with them and stuff. But I said it in a Discord today. This is my least favorite part of preview season, where there's just so many unknowns we don't know, and we're just sitting here going like, grass minute Shaw's like, no, this could be it, this could be it, this could be it, this could be it. The one thing I think I really hated about the Girl Power preview season was that everyone dogged on the set for a while until like the back page of stuff came out, and then afterwards we actually got our hands on the cards. I was like, actually, this set's pretty cool. None of these cards that I thought were terrible are actually kind of alright. Yeah, if we just play with them, maybe we'll have better opinions.
Most of the main kit stuff's still not great, but
it's still in the main kit, and it's still, some of those cards are still really cool. That people
some
do.
of them, for sure.
And that, like, I'm gonna be real. Godzilla did not have me hyped until I actually played with those cards. And then I'm like, oh, I get it now. I want to play it. I'm going into this preview season for Attack on Titan with all the potential, like, to quote Chiefs, earth-shattering changes. I'm going at them with a, sure, man, I'll see when I get it in my hands at this point. Some weak characters spoil the impression of Girl Power. Characters get all the attention. Yeah, I agree, Tim. And honestly, like, that's why, like, when it comes to Attack on Titan previews, I'm not sure what we're gonna do with it on this channel, just because, like, I'm trying to be so, like, level-headed on it, because
we broadly, like, we didn't cover Girl Power previews really at all.
Yes, I was very down on the previews because
Jacob doesn't like previews, so this channel is unlikely to do huge preview covers. We also are just always the last ones.
Yeah.
The news went live Monday, and we're a Monday stream, and we were still the third person to talk about it at the best.
No. I think we're like 5 or 6 actually. Very funny.
It's incredible how late we are somehow when it's our day to actually talk about shit. It's very funny.
I saw 3 or 4 videos before I left to come back, which is very funny.
Yeah, you know, Travis had his up almost immediately afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was like, wow, yeah, cool. So now we're 4th.
I think UK put out something too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it might be 5th.
Yep.
The thing is, I would assume the people that got to go. So Travis is the surprising one, right? Because I don't think he went to the summit, but everyone else.
Yeah. Because in theory, he didn't know.
Yeah. Which is why it was only like a 9-minute video, I think.
Yeah. But also, like, to be fair,
and
like you can spend, if you're Travis can sit down and do a quick recording of, like, reading the article, explaining it, and then having a quick, like, here are my thoughts, and that could be a 10-minute video. We, however, are 3 idiots who yell at each other. So this is already almost an hour long.
Yeah, well, we spent some of the time yelling at chat, but
no, we don't yell at them. We aggressively talk to them because we love them.
We interact with chat in a way.
But yeah. I don't know how much more we can talk about Attuned without actually talking about cards. So I'm happy to keep this conversation going, but I don't know what the hell else we're gonna say at this point.
Yeah, because we can't even talk about them. There's nothing to talk about. They don't exist.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. There's plenty of stuff I would love to talk about, but we can't.
We're being good boys.
No. We don't even have secret information. It's just somebody messed up and posted things that apparently he wasn't allowed to.
2 people did.
Oh yeah, 2 people. We could. I mean, technically, we could just put them up and talk about them.
Yeah, no one told us. We didn't get the email. Did you get an email from UBS Games saying we politely ask you not to talk about these cards?
I ain't get an email.
Loco, you still here? No narcs?
we won't post a VOD.
We'll edit that section out of the YouTube video that never goes up anyway.
Hey, shut up.
Yeah.
It sometimes goes up when there's content worth putting up. Like, this is content worth putting up. And if you would like to see this live with all the shenanigans intact, no edits whatsoever, you can join us every Monday at 9:30 or at around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch.
Paul got the email saying we can't talk about it.
Oh no!
The wrong email address.
That's fantastic.
Jacob giving them the wrong email address would be so on brand. I would believe that it happened.
Yep. I don't know how the email gets messed up like that, but I could see it happening.
I love how I've just cultivated this air of ultra incompetence to everyone around me. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fair.
But yeah, you can watch this live every Monday at 9 p.m. ish Eastern Standard Time over on twitch.tv/funaroundgameshop. What do you think about it, Attuned? Mention in the comments. That's the end of the YouTube video. Come hang out and chat. We're gonna just hang out with chat for a little bit.